This is Latvia, home to stunning landscapes, rich history, and some seriously delicious food. We spent 3 days exploring the vibrant capital Riga and venturing into Latvia's oldest and largest national park, and it exceeded all of our expectations. From the charming streets of Riga's Old Town to exploring one of Europe's biggest indoor markets and taking part in one of the most fascinating walking tours we've ever experienced, Latvia truly captured our hearts.
Good morning from our fifth country of Latvia. We are in Riga.
And the cool thing that I'm most excited about the city is we haven't seen too many videos on it, and we have heard that it's rare for Americans to go here. And so I'm just like overall excited.
And we really don't know too much about the country or where we're at. So we're starting today with a walking tour, and we're actually going outside of like the city center area. So I'm excited to see what makes this place so special.
We signed up for a walking tour, and our guide offered to show us around Old Town or somewhere off the beaten path. Naturally, we chose the second option, and our first stop takes us 20 minutes to the outskirts. We passed a USSR building on our walk to Provodņiks, a massive Russian French factory founded in 1888. Let me tell you, we weren't ready for what we were about to see.
We are about to go explore a factory. Artists. And took us outside the town to a spot we probably would have never gone to because I knew nothing about it. He said, "You want to go to a factory?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." We're going in a little blind, and I'm excited. We're getting our first glimpses.
The name of the building is Provodņiks.
Provodņiks.
I mean, look at this place. This is definitely not a place I didn't think we would have found by ourselves, but we got a guide with an app called Localfy, and we're getting basically something we would have missed if it wasn't for it. So I'm excited to see what's inside.
Yeah, just be careful with the steps, because there might be some nails or something like that here.
I think I'm gonna fall through the floor. I do see one actually. Here, let's see one sticking out.
Alright, and so this river's the main river.
Yeah, that's the river Daugava.
Daugava.
It's it has many songs about it. It's also the longest river, the widest in Latvia. It starts in Belarus and then it comes here, and I think it ends in Russia.
Oh wow. Press one of the buttons, Brandon.
I'm not daring enough. It feels like I'm walking through like a set of The Last of Us. Abandoned building, paint chips, probably shouldn't be breathing this in. It's bizarre.
It's so interesting being here because there's just like artwork of random places. There's furniture shops in here, like where they build the furniture. And then there's just like, it looks like no one should be in here, but then there is a bunch of businesses in here. There's offices in here, art studios. It's just fun to explore. Exploring the factory was really neat and such like a unique experience to have in the city, and just seeing like some of the art exhibits and just the old building. He said on the 5th floor there's a basketball court, but we couldn't get there because all the doors were locked. But on the outside of the building, it's just like this green open space, and they have this graffiti wall where they have really nice graffiti in different sections, and it's just like a beautiful spot to hang out and just relax for a little bit.
There's so many mysteries in this building. And we just like casually walk around, expose everything probably. Would highly recommend it. Maybe. Or maybe I wouldn't. This tour was an unforgettable adventure, partially because it was so spontaneous. We didn't capture everything because we put the camera away and just enjoyed the moment with our tooths, learning so much about Latvia. It felt like hanging out with a local friend. We shared beers on the way back, stumbled upon a bunker, and called it a day.
Today, we are going to be exploring the tourist sites and showing you what Riga is all about. And to start off, we're at the Freedom Monument, which was built in 1935 to symbolize the freedom of Latvia. And there's 3 stars on top, which represent the 3 regions at the time. And when Latvia was under the Soviet control, they still kept the monument. Even though the Soviets took down a lot of other buildings, they kept this monument for the Latvian people, and so it still stands here today, and it's a big symbol of Latvian freedom.
It's interesting because you saw these videos talking about different hidden gems across Europe, which aren't so hidden anymore. But this one is really cool because even people were like, "Oh, you're American?" Like, that's rare. I was like, that's how you know it's a true hidden gem.
Look where we just landed.
Well, what is this place? We just kind of popped out of this alleyway.
And Riga has some really cool architecture and buildings all around, and it just feels like you're stepping back in time a little bit. But also not, because there's so many modern shops inside the old buildings, but they kept the integrity there. Our next stop is the House of Blackheads, which was originally built in 1334, and there's been a lot of changes since then, but this is still part of the original building. And it was first built as a warehouse and a meeting place for merchants and just for celebrations, and it has the first written record of having a decorated Christmas tree. So this is where the first official decorated Christmas tree was found, which is crazy that it was right here.
This building is beautifully decorated. But one of the interesting things about architecture in Latvia is you get to see all the inspirations from all the different regimes that control Latvia, which is sad but also fascinating. Like yesterday we were seeing buildings from like the USSR. It's just bizarre because like they all look very uniquely different to the country that was like controlling them at the time, and like building new buildings of their influence.
This is just a city where you can just wander around and be like, whoa, look at that. Whoa, look at that. Because there's just so many cool buildings, a bunch of different colors, the cobblestone streets, and we have just scratched the surface. I love it here.
Our next stop is the Riga Castle, which looks more castle-like from behind. What's unique about this building is actually where Latvia's president lives. And fun fact, he was actually the first openly gay president here. And our guide said that he was actually beloved by the people here. So, I mean, that's a good sign.
And right around the corner from the castle is what's called the Three Brothers, which are these 3 houses all built in different centuries, one from the 15th, 17th, and 18th century. And they're just unique buildings that have fun colors, really old, some of the oldest dwellings in Riga. They look mostly untouched, like some of these older buildings that like look old and like ancient. You can tell like they've had like some face work done to them. These ones, you know, they look a little more authentic.
Yeah, this one's tilting a little bit.
Or is it supposed to be that way?
The next stop is really interesting because it was built in 1698 and is called the Swedish Gate, which is the last remaining wall around Riga, which is pretty small. And like once you're in like the old town area, everything's typically like within a 4-minute walk. But it's still cool to like envision this gate around the whole city. It's just fun to think about. And it's interesting to see the technique and how detailed they were building these gates. I can't imagine what it looked like around the whole city.
And everything about this town is just like so picturesque. Like you just feel like you're walking through a movie scene. Up next is the Cat House, which is a very famous building in Riga, and it was designed with medieval architecture with a mix of Art Nouveau. And there's a history behind the 2 black cats with arched backs. It's said that the owner of the house wanted the cats to be placed with their tails turned towards the house of the Great Guild, which is nearby, and he held a grudge against the members, but it was later ordered that the cats should be turned to face the guild house.
So we made it to a bakery to fuel up. I'm pumped because we got a lot of bread, but the thing I'm most excited about is something I can't pronounce. But these are really popular in Latvia, and they're typically filled with like bacon or pork. I've had a few varieties, but I'm excited for this, so let's dive in. Oh wow. This one is meaty and delicious. The bun's also very flavorful. One of the better ones I've had.
Up next, we have the Riga Cathedral, also known as the Dome Cathedral, and it's known for its architecture and stunning beauty. I mean, would you just look at it? It is pretty stunning.
The detail on this building is impressive. There's even a gold rooster at the top, which is supposed to be a symbol of like a defender against evil. And it's just interesting how much thought they incorporate into building these churches. We just arrived at St. Peter's Church, and this is one of the oldest medieval churches in the Baltic state. What makes it pretty popular is because you can go all the way up there and get an amazing view of the city, which is exactly what we're gonna do. So we thought it was €3 to go up there, but it's actually 9 each. But luckily I have a drone, so enjoy this free overlook of the city. Honestly, probably really cool, but you know, we're balling on a budget here, people.
We hope you enjoyed that sightseeing tour of Old Town Riga.
I thought that's what we were gonna do yesterday, but our guy was like, hey, do you wanna go outside of the city and do something non-touristy? I was like, yeah. And so we did, and it was amazing.
And we learned a lot from him. He was a plethora of knowledge. Up next, we're going to one of the largest indoor markets in Europe, the Riga Central Market, and it has over 3,000 vendors, and they're housed inside these old Zeppelin hangars, and each hangar has a different type of food item, like vegetables, meat, dairy, and it is also one of the most diverse markets in Europe as well. And not only is there an indoor part, but there's also an outdoor part. So we're on a mission to find a food that we have not had yet that we want to have in Latvia, but we're not going to tell you what it is yet in case we can't find it here.
We are thriving in this market, let me tell you. We made it out with bandits. A lot of the stuff is packed, but we got strawberries, we got cheese, we got rye bread. We just ordered what we were looking for the most, Russian dumplings. So we're waiting for them. They're gonna be fresh off the press. But in the meantime, while we wait, we got, I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation, but it's like Kvass. It's a fermented cereal-based drink that's made with rye. That's the description that we quickly read. This is the smallest size they had, which is not very small. Hopefully we like it. Whoa, it almost has like a faint beer taste, but it's not like that at all. And it's pretty sweet and refreshing. I can enjoy all this.
That is delicious pale ale. It's fruity, it's light, very hot.
Our dumplings have arrived, and I'm so excited. They were piping hot, so we let them cool down a little bit. Now, these ones I think are the more traditional Russian ones, but Russia has a really big influence on Latvia, Estonia, so we had to try it. The meat in there is so flavorful. It is spiced deliciously. Dumpling part is nice and soft and chewy, and it's filled with such good juices.
These are the fried dumplings, and I've never seen a dumpling look like this. It's just like a small little circle that's hard, and you see like all the meat filling in there. They also gave us a fork, but I feel like I'm gonna use my hand. These hit. It has like their crunchy shell on the outside, but as soon as you bite into it, all the juices, flavors, and spices just flavor blast your mouth, just leaving you wanting some more. These are honestly so good. This is a high quality brandy made from honey. It's distilled twice. So cheers. Delicious. That burns. I don't really drink brandy. Oh gosh. Okay. Let's keep it going.
This has turned into a sightseeing food tour. We have bread soup, which is one of a Latvian desserts that they have. And it's made from rye bread, of course, but it's not very soupy-like. It feels kind of like pudding, like a soupy pudding. Here we go. I don't know if I like that. It tastes like bread that's really mushy. I guess it's bread soup. It just tastes like bread soup. Like it has the consistency of cake batter, but instead of being sweet like cake batter, it tastes like rye bread.
It definitely reminds me of bread. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Probably gonna be like on the 5 for me. But maybe it's just because I'm here, but I want to eat more. And I don't want it to go to waste. Our next stop is the Museum of the Occupation of Latvia. Latvia as a country has endured a lot between how many times they were occupied and invaded and going through 2 world wars. And it's just one of those countries we haven't learned too much about. We just wrapped up the museum and it was really well put together. It starts off at 1940 and basically covers until present day and all like the different steps and all the timelines that it took them to get there. I guess I hadn't realized that even after World War II had ended, they still had like over 50 years of trying to become an independent state and just rebuild basically everything they lost. And one thing that was clear throughout the whole museum is like the people of Latvia never lost sight of wanting to get independence and seeking that. So hats off to them. Definitely worth checking out, and I'm glad that we spent a lot longer there than I anticipated.
So we were able to see a lot of the old city and Central Market and like the downtown Riga area. So tomorrow we're gonna go outside of the city to another special spot of Latvia.
Good morning from Sigulda, where we just finished an hour bus ride from Riga to here.
And I'm so excited to explore. It's right by Latvia's largest national parks. So our goal today is to probably get coffee, go to some caves, go see some castles, and there's a cable car. And none of that is in the order that we're gonna do this, but those are some of our goals today.
Sounds like
all C's. Anything that's not a C we can't do today. We made it to the first C, coffee at Mr. Biskvits. It smells so good and it has cute flowers. So we got our pastries and coffee, and we only have 5 hours to explore this area before we have to go back on the bus to Riga. So we are taking them with us to our next spot.
And our guide did tell us that he said Latvians really enjoy greenery. That's why they have like a lot of parks. And he even said that when flowers start to bloom, people just help plant flowers and maintain them, even if it's not like their garden. And so yeah, it was just fun to be able to experience some of the greenery.
this place has a wow factor. I walked in and I was like, whoa, look at that. A perfect place to eat our snacks. A beautiful scenery for some delicious treats.
I'm excited because I've had almost one of these every day we've been in Latvia, it seems. We have a piece of honey cake. Look at all of them layers. So I actually didn't get a fork, so this might be quite messy. But we're gonna dive right in. Oh, you can feel how dense that is. The closest comparison is basically a really thick cheesecake, but the graham cracker really shines and it's more in like a cake form. But yeah, you have to try these.
So this is the new castle and it's $3.50 to get in, so we're gonna go explore the new castle before we go to the ruins.
This is the celebration hall.
Now we're in the dining room.
The library and reading room.
The Four Seasons stained glass.
The basement floor.
A fancy staircase. The second floor, which is an art exhibit. So this is the new castle that was built in 1878, and there's not a ton in this castle, but what's unique about it, it was built on the ruins of the old castle. And most of the old ruins are still over there, and we get to explore those too, so let's go. We just learned that this castle, the foundation and everything was created in 1207.
Well, let's go in there.
It's so dark and like tight. I feel like I can't. This is the most castle-y of all the castles that we've been in. Like, when I think of castle, this is what I'm thinking about. Like, this was like a whole like dungeon chamber, but there's a giant chair. Who needs a chair? This is such a neat experience. I feel like I am truly in a castle. I mean, of course, there's some additions, but fun. We're gonna keep going up.
There's something a little more fun coming to a castle when you have it all to yourself. And it's slightly decorated too, so you really get to like immerse yourself in here. But it's kind of funny because we were 5 steps in past the gate and we just went left up these stairs. But there's so much more to see.
Of course, we know that this is like the restored castle. We know it would not look like this with all the wood and all the metal bolts and whatnot, but it's still fun to like get like a semi-feel of how it would look. These ones might be more true to how it was when they found it.
We're on a time limit, but there's a castle there that looks so castle-y of all castles I've ever seen a castle, and so I want to go there, but there might not be enough time. Another see the castle is marked off, but we're on a time crunch, and now we're on our way to go to another one. We tried going on the cable cars and the next one didn't leave until 2, which is in 50 minutes. And we're on a time crunch because the bus leaves on 4, and maybe we can take the cable car on the way back, but we got some hiking to do. Lunch update. We're actually gonna eat our lunch while we walk because we're racing against time. We don't want to sit down. Although there were some pretty stellar picnic spots on the way here, and I'm sure, I mean, they're everywhere in Latvia. We'll just be walking, there's random benches. But in this case, we're gonna walk and eat.
We made it to our first cave! This is a small one, I think, to the other ones that we're gonna be seeing. But let's go in. Dude, this water is so clear and this is coming out.
It doesn't even look like water, it just looks like the ground. Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, there's a big old worm in there. I think it might be dead. Ooh, it's nice and colorful.
The cave was pretty neat, but what the camera doesn't pick up is all the bugs and mosquitoes around there buzzing, going near my eye, biting my neck. I'm glad we're out of that cave.
So dramatic sometimes.
Dude, that's exactly what happened.
I felt no bugs.
I felt all the bugs.
I think we're seeing our bigger cave.
Oh yeah, that's bigger.
Oh yeah. This is the biggest and most visited cave in Latvia, but there's all these engravings and they have like crest engravings. It's not like B plus B heart. I mean, there are those, but then there's like giant like crest ones that have dates that are super old, and just like the sandstone looks really cool with all like their layers of color. It's a pretty cool cave. I wouldn't say it's a big cave, but I guess it's the biggest in Latvia. The oldest one that you can still see is from 1667, but they found in German literature people talking about this cave and their carvings in 1521. We found the cable cars on the other side of the river, so let's see what this is all about. Will we be able to complete all of our sea activities today? Let's go see. Thank you. We made it on and it's super cute. Cable car complete.
The city of Sigula definitely did not disappoint. And I'm glad we got to spend a day trip here, but I don't think it was enough because there's a lot to do. If you do visit Riga, definitely spend some time outside the city center because there's plenty of options to do in Latvia.
But sadly, we have to leave Latvia, but we are excited because we're going to a new country and we're gonna have some special guests with us, so I'm super duper excited for our next adventure.
It's definitely gonna be a great one. But until then, hopefully y'all enjoyed Latvia, and we'll see y'all in the next country. Bye!